He beat me breathless, then cried and said he loved me. I spent years believing pain meant love, carrying that lie into adulthood, until I became a father and finally understood what love isn't. I was 6 the first time he hit me hard enough to leave a mark. It was a Sunday. I'd spilled orange juice on the carpet, and he'd just come back from church. I remember the way his face changed when he saw the stain, like something snapped. He didn't yell. He just walked over, grabbed my arm, and slapped me across the face. I fell sideways into the table leg. My mom was in the kitchen. She didn't come out. Later that night, he sat on the edge of my bed and cried. Said he was sorry. Said he loved me. Said he didn't know what came over him. I nodded. I didn't know what else to do. That pattern lasted for years. He'd explode, then collapse. Hit, then hug. Scream, then sob. I learned to read the signs, the way his jaw clenched when he was about to lose it, the way he'd go quiet before the storm. I got good at shrinking myself, at staying out of the way. But it didn't always work. Sometimes I'd just be sitting there, doing homework, and he'd come in drunk and angry about something that had nothing to do with me. A bad day at work. A fight with my mom. A bill he couldn't pay. And I'd become the outlet. He never broke bones. That's something I used to tell myself. He never broke bones, so it wasn't that bad. But bruises were normal. A split lip once when I was 10. He cried harder that time than I did. Held me in his arms and rocked me like I was a baby. Told me he hated himself. Told me he was trying to be better. I wanted to believe him. I think part of me did. School was my escape. I stayed late whenever I could. Joined clubs I didn't care about just to avoid going home. Teachers said I was quiet, polite, a little withdrawn. I got good grades. I didn't talk about my family. I didn't invite friends over. I didn't want anyone to see the way things were. I thought if I could just keep everything together on the outside, maybe the inside wouldn't matter. My mom never left him. She'd patch me up, tell me he was under a lot of stress, that he didn't mean it. She'd cry too sometimes. Apologize for not stepping in. But she never stopped him. Never told him to get help. I think she was scared of him in her own way. Or maybe she thought keeping the family together was more important than protecting me. I don't know. I stopped asking. When I turned 16, I started fighting back. Not physically, I knew I couldn't win that way. But I stopped crying. Stopped flinching. I'd look him in the eye and take it. That made him angrier. But it also made him more ashamed. The apologies got longer. More desperate. He'd beg me to forgive him. Say he was broken. Say he needed me to believe he could change. I didn't answer. I just waited for it to be over. College was my way out. I got a scholarship and left the state. Didn't come home for holidays. Didn't call. He'd leave voicemails sometimes, slurred and emotional. I miss you, son. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry for everything. I'd delete them without listening to the end. I told myself I was done. That I'd escaped. That I was free. But I wasn't. Not really. I carried him with me, in the way I flinched when someone raised their voice, in the way I couldn't trust people who said they loved me, in the way I kept everyone at arm's length. I had girlfriends, but I never let them get too close. I didn't know how to be vulnerable without feeling weak. I didn't know how to be angry without feeling dangerous. I didn't know how to be loved without waiting for pain. I saw a therapist in my 20s. She asked me to talk about my childhood. I told her the facts. Just the facts. She said I minimized everything. Said I spoke like I was describing someone else's life. I guess that's how it felt. Like I'd built a wall between me and that boy who got hit and hugged and hit again. I didn't want to be him anymore. I wanted to be someone new. But the wall didn't hold. Not really. I'd wake up some nights with my heart racing, drenched in sweat, no idea why. I'd hear his voice in my head when I made a mistake. You're useless. You're a disappointment. You ruin everything. I tried to drown it out with work, with alcohol, with sex. Nothing worked for long. He got sick when I was 30. Liver failure. Years of drinking catching up to him. My mom called and said he didn't have much time. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see him. But I did. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I needed closure. Maybe I thought he'd finally say something that made it all make sense. He was thin, pale, hooked up to machines. He looked smaller than I remembered. We sat in silence for a long time. Then he started crying. Said he was sorry. Said he wished he'd been a better father. Said he loved me. I didn't say anything. I just watched him. He asked if I forgave him. I said I didn't know. That was the truth. I didn't know. He died 2 days later. I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything. Just a kind of numbness. Like something had ended, but I wasn't sure what. I went back to my apartment and sat on the floor for hours. Tried to remember a time when I'd felt safe with him. I couldn't. I thought that would be the end of it. That once he was gone, I could move on. But grief doesn't work like that. Neither does trauma. I kept seeing him in my dreams. Kept hearing his voice. Kept feeling that old mix of fear and longing. I wanted him to be different. I wanted him to be the father he pretended to be in those moments after the violence. But he wasn't. He never was. I started writing about him. Not in a journal, just scraps of thoughts on napkins, receipts, the backs of envelopes. Things I remembered. Things I couldn't forget. The way his hands shook when he cried. The way he smelled of whiskey and sweat. The way he'd say, "I'm sorry," like it was a ritual, like it absolved him. I didn't know what I was trying to do. Maybe I thought if I could get it all out, I'd feel lighter. But I didn't. I just felt exposed. I met someone when I was 33. Her name was Rachel. She was kind, patient, didn't push. We took things slow. I told her about my dad early on. Not everything, but enough. She didn't flinch. Said she understood. Said she'd been through her own stuff. I believed her. For the first time, I let someone see the cracks. It scared me. I kept waiting for her to leave. She didn't. We moved in together after a year. I thought I was ready. But living with someone brought everything back. The tension. The fear. The need to be perfect. I'd get anxious when she came home late. I'd panic if I spilled something. I'd hear my dad's voice in my head, telling me I was worthless. I didn't hit anyone. I didn't yell. But I shut down. I disappeared into myself. Rachel noticed. She asked what was wrong. I said I didn't know. That was a lie. I knew exactly what was wrong. I just didn't know how to fix it. We fought. Not often, but when we did, I'd freeze. I couldn't argue. I couldn't raise my voice. I'd just go silent. She said it felt like I was punishing her with my silence. I didn't mean to. I just didn't know how to be angry without becoming him. I didn't know how to express pain without fearing I'd hurt someone. I didn't know how to be in a relationship without feeling like I was walking a tightrope. I went back to therapy. A different therapist this time. She asked me to talk about forgiveness. I said I didn't believe in it. Just why? I said because it felt like letting him off the hook. Like saying it was okay. She said forgiveness wasn't about him. It was about me. About letting go of the power he still had over me. I didn't know how to do that. I still don't. Rachel stayed. Through the shutdowns, the nightmares, the panic attacks. She said she loved me. I believed her. But I didn't know how to love her back in a way that felt whole. I kept parts of myself hidden. The scared boy. The angry man. The one who still flinched when someone raised a hand too fast. I didn't want her to see that. I didn't want anyone to see that. We talked about having kids. I said I wasn't ready. She asked if I'd ever be. I said I didn't know. I was terrified of becoming him. Of repeating the cycle. Of hurting someone I loved. She said I wasn't him. That I was already breaking the cycle by being aware of it. I wanted to believe her. I still do. I think about him more than I want to. Not just the violence but the apologies. The way he'd look at me with tears in his eyes and say he was sorry. Like that erased everything. Like that made it okay. I used to crave those apologies. Used to wait for them. They were the only moments he seemed human. But now I see them differently. They weren't about me. They were about him. About easing his guilt. About resetting the clock so he could do it again. I don't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'm trying to understand him. Not excuse him, just understand. He was raised by a man who beat him. He grew up in a house where fear was normal. He didn't know how to be a father. He didn't know how to be gentle. He didn't know how to love without hurting. That doesn't make it okay. But it makes it clearer. I'm learning to be different. To be soft. To be present. To be honest. I still mess up. I still shut down sometimes. I still hear his voice. But I'm building a new one. My own. One that says, you're safe. You're enough. You're allowed to feel. It's not easy. It's slow. But it's happening. Sometimes I look in the mirror and see him. The shape of my jaw. The way my eyes narrow when I'm tired. It scares me. But then I remember I have choices he didn't make. I have tools he never used. I have people who love me in ways he never understood. And I have the will to change. This isn't a redemption story. It's not a neat arc. It's messy. It's ongoing. But it's mine. And for the first time, that feels like enough. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.